maybe you would or should?
No.
Coach talk.
Oh, there we go. There we go. He was quiet this whole time. There we go.
I mean, for some people, yes, but there's also still some people that doubt. Not just the media. You fans too. You know, they seen one fight. You know, and they try to discredit it in a way as well. So they don't really. They need to see more of me. You know, at the end of the day.
So you don't take it personal and angry?
I don't know. I don't take it personal at all, honestly.
Does your trainer take it? Does your trainer take it personally?
Maybe, but I mean, I would prefer not to, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody says or what anybody thinks. When I go in there, it comes down to me and God, and I'm gonna be great regardless of what anybody says. It's not gonna stop me. You know, if I'm destined to be great, I'm gonna be great. So me personally, I don't really let it bother me. Sometimes it does, you know, add fuel. It makes you like, okay.
Well, it bothers me.
I don't believe it, right?
Saddam is one of the most humble, one of the kindest, one of the most endearing fighters on the planet. Everybody loves him. Even the haters love him, and they love to hate him so they can love him more. And it bothers me because he was set up with an assignment that a lot of people thought he would not even to say surpass, but that he could even contend with. And he did that. He rose to the occasion. He did what was asked of him, and he excelled. And yet and still now, people still will discredit the win. They would say that Cotto was too old, but if Cotto would have won the fight, it would have been business as usual. So give Saddam, give my nephew the credit he deserves. He worked for it. When his father and I were brick-a-bracking back and forth, and he told me we're fighting Cotto, and I said, no, we're not. He said, yes, we are. I said, no, we're not. He said, yes, we are. I said, okay. And then Saddam said, no, I want to fight him. I said, all right, well, we have to get ready for the assignment. And Lenny and I and Curtis, we all got together, and we pushed and we shoved and we slapped and we pinched and everything else to make sure that Saddam was ready to win this fight. And now Saddam is fighting an opponent who is 28-0 with 24 knockouts. His resume reads nowhere near what Saddam's is. And you still have people saying, well, you know, I think Saddam's going to lose this fight. That bothers me. That bothers me. When you excel to elite status, and then you have a young man, and I'm not discrediting him, not at all, but when you have a young man who hasn't performed at the level or the stages that Saddam has, and you're going to give him credit to defeat Sadam Ali, you must be on crack. It's not going to go down that way.
Andre, you know full well that talk is cheap.
All day long.
Experts out there, not inside the ring, oh man, this is, but you're angry, but should that psychologically motivate you to another level of, we're going to show these BS's that he's for real, that he's not a figment of anybody's imagination, that he didn't beat up an old man. I mean, so what? Miguel Cotto's been in wars. Mm-hmm. This young man had also been in wars, and people don't, you know, I have to go back to this because it killed me. When Danny Jacobs was preparing to fight Triple G, oh, that's another victim. I looked up, and I didn't forget Danny Jacobs' record. He had something like 16, 17 straight knockouts. So who the hell hits harder? Who are the tomato cans that Triple G was fighting as opposed to Danny Jacobs? So that knockdown, it would build me up more, give me more incentive to prove these talkabouts better. And I see you angry, but I don't blame you. But no, I thought I would have calmed you down.
No, what it is that I'm not angry at the situation, because a fight is a fight.
Yeah.
But I'm a little perturbed about you denying Saddam's capabilities. This young man was an Olympian. He has fought some really good fighters, and then he went on to encapsulate some greatness by defeating a legend. Right. So we can't discredit what Saddam has done. Saddam is ready to present himself, and me, myself, we take no one lightly, don't get me wrong. But my motto is some guys just don't belong in the ring with you. And on Saturday night, you are going to see vintage Sadam Ali. And as the great one, Muhammad would say, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He's going to be stinging somebody on Saturday night, Ali. Right, baby?
Flow like a butterfly, sting like a bee. No, not Muhammad. On the world kid Ali.
Oh, there you go. Very good.
So Sadam, you don't think this kid is on your level then? Based on what he just said?
He has good, good fight in him. He has power. He has, out of his 28 fights, he has 24 knockouts. So he's definitely a dangerous fighter. I wouldn't want to discredit him because of his opponents. Yes, he hasn't been in there with great opponents, but that doesn't really necessarily mean that he doesn't have the skill to be great. I know that I'm on another level. I just have to fight smart, and maybe he thinks he can just walk over me, possibly. I don't know. I don't know what he thinks, but come Saturday, everything is going to come to light.
So Sadam, if and when you beat this kid, they're going to say, well, that kid wasn't ready. You know this, we know this, we all know
Exactly.
this. So Sadam or Coach or both of you, what is the fight that you're going to have to take and the guy that you're going to have to beat to get that full due respect? Is it a Charlo?
What fight did Mayweather have to take for him to get that?
Oscar.
But even after Oscar,
Even after Oscar,
Did he
none.
get it?
The answer is none.
When he fought Pacquiao, did he get it?
when he fought Pacquiao, they said Pacquiao was injured, so he didn't get the credit. Yeah, so
You never,
and
the way I look at
Oscar
it,
never got the credit.
Then he beat
Never got the
McGregor,
credit.
though, finally.
So he
McGregor.
No, part of the story there isn't part of the revenge, the paycheck. The paycheck is good. You can,
but I look at it like you're never really gonna get it. You're never really gonna get it. I mean, from some people, yes, but from everybody, it's impossible.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah, you're always,
Haters gonna
you're
hate,
always
and
gonna
they're
have
gonna keep.
somebody
They're gonna
discredit
keep
you.
hating until eventually, because eventually in boxing, it would be beautiful to retire undefeated, but that's tough to do.
Yeah.
When you're taking real fights.
Right.
And eventually, when Sadam does lose, if he does, against a top-notch fighter, they're gonna say, "We told you." Yeah, but he had a string of 16 wins or whatever it is. So.
Hateration at the utmost. But we don't thrive on that. This young man, I'm gonna tell you something about Sadam. Sadam has the most even keel attitude ever. It's like things can go over his head and it don't even bother him. And if it does, he don't show it to you. He's just such a nonchalant entity. And that's what makes it easy for him to do the things he does. Whereas his father, Lenny, Curtis, and myself, we're worrying, shouting, shoving, and everything else, and this, that, and Sadam would be like, we're gonna do what we gotta do. I got this. and we get upset when he says, I got this, but so far he's been getting this. And we're just gonna continue doing that, and I'm telling you, we're going upstate for this fight. We're a short ride away from the International Boxing Hall of Fame. We're going to go by the Boxing Hall of Fame because I want Sadam to see what it is to be a part of greatness. And once he enters that hall of greatness and it starts emulsifying and him absorbing it, he's going to want to be a Hall of Famer. And for him to be a Hall of Famer, he has to take care of business. And that's what he's going to do Saturday night.
I think one of the interesting things that Andre said was that Sadam is like a nonchalant type of individual. And that's what the public see. And they used to seeing and hearing a lot of trash talk. They used to all this aggressiveness. It don't come from him. What they're looking at, in essence, is a quiet storm. It's a quiet storm. And that's why when he does win, it's an unbelievable task. Like, how did he do that? How did he do that? And that's what they're going to see on Saturday night. They're going to see a quiet storm break thunder. And so, what they're gonna say, the same thing? You know, what Saddam did, he does work hard. He's a person that, like Andre said, we have to push and push. He's not your average fighter, but that's what makes it more even special. You know what I mean? It's the unknown. It's the
Hey,
unknown.
Coach, you wanting to bring him to the Hall of Fame, is part of that you trying to instill in him a deeper belief in just how good he can be? In other words, you think there's another 10% that he could get to? Maybe because he's so humble, actually.
Oh, most definitely.
Can you talk about that some? And then Saddam, it says that you're not in the room and I'm talking about you, but if you could speak to it too. It seems like maybe humility is there, and I don't know, do you want to see more meanness?
No,
Not meanness.
Right. No, I don't even want to see a change in Saddam. I just want him to see where greatness ends up being, and once he's in the Hall of Fame and reading and looking and absorbing all the information pertaining to every great fighter that gets to enter those hallowed halls, it makes you a different person. It makes you a different person. It makes you want to be there. I want to see my picture up on those walls one day. And the only way to do that is to keep winning and winning and